Hello everyone. In today's lecture, we are going to see about applet programming in Java. So, if you remember, when we had seen the overview of Java language, we had seen that there are two types of Java programs. One, the standalone Java application program, which we have already studied, and second, the web applets, or we also call them Java applets. So, what are Java applets? Java applets are basically the small Java programs that are embedded in web pages or HTML documents, that is hypertext markup language documents. An applet can be located on a distant computer, which we call as a web server, and can be downloaded via internet and can be executed on our local machine, that we call it as a client computer, using a Java enabled web browser. We can develop applets for doing a number of tasks, from a simple animated graphics to a complex games and the utilities. That is how applet can transform a web into a rich media and also supports the delivery of applications via the internet. Now let us see how an applet can make a web an interactive and application delivery medium. Consider this particular diagram. Let us assume that somebody from the organization sun.com wants to say hello to a person from our organization. So what that person at sun.com does is he creates a file that is hello.java. Then he compiles that file using Javac file compiler. Once he compiles that file, hello.class file will be generated, that is the bytecode of that hello.java file, that will be stored at Sun's web server. Now he will embed that particular .class file into a HTML document, and that is how he is going to create an applet out of that particular file. Once the applet is created, that applet will be transmitted via the internet to our organization. Now the person in our organization can use a Java enabled web browser which creates a new thread and then runs that code and just see the hello message that has been sent through a internet. Now we will see how an applet differs from the Java standalone application. Although both applets and standalone applications are Java program, as we have seen, but there are certain restrictions that are imposed on the applets, because applets can be transmitted via the internet on any of the machine anywhere in the world. So due to some security concerns, these restrictions are being imposed on applets. First, applets don't use the main method, but when they are loaded, they automatically call certain methods that are init, start or paint, stop and destroy, that we will see in the next slide. Second, they are embedded inside the HTML document or a web page and are executed in the web browser. Next, they cannot read from or write to the files on the local computers where they are stored or where they are transmitted. Next, they cannot communicate with the other servers on the network. The other difference is they also cannot run any programs from the local machines. And finally, they are also restricted from using the libraries from the other languages. So all these above restrictions are basically ensured or given to ensure that the applets cannot do any damage to the local system where they are being transmitted or where they are being stored. Now let us see how we can prepare to write the applet code. Now before writing applets, we must make sure that Java is installed properly and also ensure that there is either a Java applet viewer or a Java enabled web browser that is available. Now there are several steps involved in developing and creating applets. The first step is we need to build a applet code, that is a Java file, that is .java file. Second step is we need to create an executable applet, that is a .class file, by compiling the Java code written in the first step. Next, once we have .class file, we need to embed that .class file into a web page or a HTML documents using the HTML text. Next, we need to prepare for the applet tag and incorporate that particular applet tag into a web page, and then create a HTML file and save it as .html file, and we can then test this particular applet code. So let us look at the steps one by one. Now let us see a simple example code of building an applet. The first line, that is hello world applet.java, is the command line. Next, our Java applet code uses the services of two classes, namely the applet class and the graphics class from the Java class library. The applet class is present in java.applet package, provides the life and the behavior to the applet through the various methods such as init, start and paint. Unlike the Java application programs where Java calls the main method directly to initiate the execution of the program, when the applet is loaded, Java automatically calls a series of applet class methods for starting, running and stopping the applet code. And the applet class therefore maintains the entire life cycle of the applet. Next is the paint method of the applet class. When it is called, it actually displays the result of the applet code on the screen. The output can be in the form of a text or a graphics or some sound. And this paint method requires the object of the graphics class as an argument as shown there. So since we need to use the graphics class, we need to import the java.awt package that contains that graphics class. Now all the output operations of the applet are performed using these methods defined in the graphics class. Here the applet class name, that is hello world applets, is the name of the main class for the applet, and when the applet is being loaded, Java creates the instance of this particular class, and then a series of applet class methods will be called on that particular instance. Also you can see that there is only one executable statement that is written in g.drawString method, okay, as a parameter of that drawString method, that is printing hello world of Java, and it will be printed at position 25,25, which is in terms of pixels on the applet's reserved space. After we create a Java code for the applet that we have done in the previous slide, the next step is to compile that Java code using a JavaC compiler. And after compilation, the JavaC compiler will generate the .class file or the bytecode of that particular code. Now this dot class file needs to be embedded in the web page or the HTML document. So this is the format of the HTML document. Any HTML document will always begin with an HTML tag and always end with an HTML tag. So these two tags signifies the opening and the ending of the HTML file. Next is the head section or the head tag, which has many details about the web page and usually includes the title tag within it. Whatever is there in the title tag will appear in the title bar of the browser, and then the body text come, which actually is the main text of the web page, and we are going to place our applet tag in this body section of the web page, which has the code as an attribute, and to this code attribute we are going to pass the name of the class file which is generated after compilation of the previous Java code. And along with this code attribute, it has got two more attributes, that is the width and the height, which specify the width and the height of the applet viewer window in which that applet output will be displayed. And then we close the applet tag, and then the body and the closing of the entire HTML document. Next we will run a previously created .html file in a web browser, and this is how the output of that HTML code will be displayed in our web browser. So as we have seen in the previous slide, every Java applet inherits a set of default behaviors from the applet class. As a result of this particular thing, whenever the applet is loaded, it will undergo through a series of changes in its state as given here. For example, it may be going in the born or the initialization state, or it may be going in the running state, or the idle state, or destroyed or the dead state. Now the applet enters in the initialization state whenever it is first loaded, and this can be achieved by calling the init method of the applet class. Now at this particular stage, if required, we may have to do the following, that is, we may create the objects needed by the applet, or we may set the initial values, or load the images, or set up the colors, and so on. And this init method will be called only once in the entire life cycle of the applet. The second stage in the applet life cycle is the running state. Now this applet runs or enters in the running state whenever the system calls the start method of the applet class. Now this will happen automatically when the applet is initialized. So starting can occur if the applet is already in the stopped or the idle state. For example, if we are leaving a web page that is containing a applet to temporarily go to another page and return back to that particular page, this again starts the applet running. So unlike the init method, start method may be called more than once in the applet life cycle. And remember that this particular start method override the start method to create the thread to control the applet. Next is we have the idle or the stopped state. Now the applet becomes idle whenever it is stopped from running, and this stopping automatically occurs whenever we leave the page containing the currently running applet, and this can also be done by calling the stop method explicitly. Next is we have a dead state. Now applet is said to be dead whenever it is removed from the memory, and this happens automatically by invoking the destroy method when we quit the browser. So like initialization, destroying stage also occurs only once in the life cycle of the applet. Next is the display state. Now whenever the applet moves to the display state, it has to perform some output operations on the screen. So that is when we say that applet is in the display state. And almost every applet will have a paint method that will be doing the job of outputting the applet output onto the screen. Now it must be noted that display state is not considered as a part of applet's life cycle. In fact, and the paint method is defined in the applet class, and it is inherited from the component class of a superclass, that is applet. So this is just what we have discussed in the previous slide, how each of these states of the applet behaves. Next we will see how we can pass a user defined parameters to the applet. Now this can be done by using the param tags that is available in applet, and each param tag has got two attributes, that is the name and the value. Now for example, the name can be the color or the value can be red and so on. So this is actually included in the applet tag of the HTML document where we embed the applet. So this is just an example of how we can pass the parameters. In the previous slide we had defined the HTML code which wraps the code for the applet which accepts the parameter. Now this is the actual applet code which can accept the parameters from the user. Now in this particular code you can see that there is a init method which actually is used for accepting the parameters. Now why this is done is because the parameters are passed to the applets when they are loaded. That is why we use the init method. Now here you can see that we have the get parameter method which takes as an argument the name attribute that is defined in the previous slide for the param tag, that is greetings. Okay, and this is fetched by using a get parameter method which is then stored into a string variable. Now the next line says that if that message is not, just put a message hello in that message variable. And this next is the paint method which will be actually printing that particular message by using a drawstring method onto the screen. So that message will be printed on screen by using what? The drawstring method. And this is how we can fetch the parameters from applet and then display them onto the screen. So this is the output of the previous code which shows how we can supply the user defined parameters by using a param tag, and then how those parameters can be fetched in the applet code using the init method, and then how we can actually display these particular parameters, that is the fetched parameters, onto the web browser when we run the applet code. So what happens if we don't use a param tag, or if we don't pass a value to a through a param tag in the HTML code? So you can see here we have not used a param tag or passed any value to a as a parameter. So in that case what will happen is your get parameter method will return null, and then we can use some default values such as done in the previous code, and it can be printed in the browser. That is, you can see hello being printed, which is a default value that is being used in the previous code. So here now we will see how we can use applet to display the numeric values. You can see here that we have declared a class called as SumNums which extends the applet class, which is the class of this applet package from Java. And then we have already seen that if a applet needs to display something, it needs to be written in the paint method, and this paint method takes the parameter as the object of this graphics class, and this graphics class is part of which package? AWT package. That is why we are importing the AWT package also. Then we have declared two variables num1 and num2 and initialized them to this particular values, and then we are adding and storing it into a sum variable. Now we need to convert them into a string before we display them onto a browser. So we are using string dot value of method, passing this sum as the parameter to this, and this will be stored in the string variable. And then we are using the drawString method, which will be displaying the value stored in the string variable onto the browser screen. Now this particular code will be saved as what? Sumnums.java. So this is my .java code. Now this .java code needs to be embedded in this HTML code, and this .java code will be first compiled, and we get the sumnums class file, which will be given as the value to the applets code attribute, and this will be saved as what? Sumnums.html, and then we can load it on the browser, and this is the output what we are going to see browser. And so next we will see how we can use an applet program to take the user input. So as we know that applets actually work in the graphical environment, therefore applet treats input as the text strings. So we must first create an area on the screen in which the user can type or edit the input items, and this is done by using the text field class of the applet package. Now you can see here that applet declares two objects of the text field class, that is text1 and text2. Now these two objects actually represents the two text boxes that will be displayed onto the browser screen. Now next we override the init method of the applet class. In this init method we are creating the two text field objects. Okay, two text field objects of how many character length? 10 character length. Okay, then we add these objects to applet's display area by using which add method, and then you can see that we can set the initial value of these text boxes, or we can initialize the contents of these objects to 0 whenever they are displayed onto the browser. First the content of those text boxes will be displayed as 0. Then comes the paint method. Now this is where all the action are taking place. First we have declared three integer variables, that is num1, num2 and sum, and then followed by three string variables, that is s1, s2 and s3. Now remember that the numbers entered in these text boxes, the numbers which we are going to enter or the user is going to enter in these text boxes are in the form of a string. Therefore they are retrieved as strings by using this getText method. They are retrieved as strings by using this getText method, and then they are converted to numerical values, in this case the integer values, by using what? The parseInt method of which class? The integer class. We have already used this class. Similarly with the second text box, and then we are just adding those two numbers and then storing it in the string variable. Now we need to convert them again to string before displaying that, so that is why we are doing string dot value of then n, and then we are putting it in the string variable, and then using a drawString method it will be displayed onto a browser screen. So this is what the output when we run the previous code. Two text boxes, we are putting the values 5 and 10, and then the sum will be displayed.
So to summarize, this is what we have learned during today's lecture, that applets are designed to operate in internet and web environment, and they enable the delivery of applications via the web, and this is demonstrated by the things which we have learned in this lecture, that is applets differ from application program. We have seen the life cycle of an applet, then we have seen how the applets are designed, we have also seen how the applets are executed, and then finally we have seen how we can use or how we can provide interactive inputs in the applets. Thank you all. I hope you must have enjoyed the lecture and understood the contents from the lecture.